Hello once again everyone and welcome back. I am your host Natty and this is Nat Reviews, the series where I take a look at a random piece of media and give my thoughts on it. This week around we are taking a look at an EP. I know it's not an album, but I have felt a strong desire to cover the artist for most of this year by now. Now that they have released an EP, I am able to give more of a look into their work outside of their debut hit, that artist being Lil Nas X. And this is my take on his EP, 7. Let's begin. So before we get into the tracks that came on the EP, let's talk about the artist behind them, Lil Nas X. Born Montero Lamar Hill. He experienced his parents divorcing while he was young and he lived in the projects of Atlanta. His eventual decision to move away, he said, was an important one, stating, "There's so much going on in Atlanta. If I would have stayed there, I would have fallen in with the wrong crowd." He soon thereafter began getting heavily into the internet as a form of escapism from his life and the troubles he faced in it. Through his teen years, he struggled with coming out, but as he grew up, he began to slowly accept it as a part of himself. He only completed 1 year of university before dropping out. He lived with his sister and took up various jobs in the area. It was at this same time he began trying to grow his following on social medias, yet again as a form of escapism and also to help promote his own work as an independent artist. He tried to find what his calling was, making comedy sketches and a variety of other things before settling on music. This is when he created the hit most now know as Old Town Road. I took a look at that song in particular earlier this year. You can find my review of it in the cards and in the description of the video below. He recorded the song at a humble Atlanta studio during a cheap day and began making videos on his social medias to promote it. I admire him for his work in promoting himself, showing what many independent artists have to do when they don't have a large label backing them. Eventually, Old Town Road blew up in popularity over many months, becoming the worldwide smash we all know it as today. Due to the song's enormous success, Columbia Records picked him up and he soon began working on what we're looking at today, his 7 EP. Now the EP likely gets its name from the 7 unique tracks on the EP, with there being 2 Old Town Roads on the EP. He avoided making an album full of country rap to avoid being pigeonholed by OTR, Old Town Road, instead opting for a more creative and diverse mix of music ranging from hip-hop to pop to rock, hard rock, and alt-rock, straying far away from being just another trap artist as he put it. So with all the origins out of the way, let's finally dive on in to the actual music on the EP, shall we? Yeah, I'm gonna take my horse to the old town road, Alright, so we began with the breakout hit itself. I have already reviewed it before as mentioned, but I shall give a brief rundown of what the song is like here. You can find my thoughts of it in the video I made. But yes, the song is a country rap song featuring country musician Billy Ray Cyrus giving additional vocals to Lil Nas X's original song as a form of solidarity between Lil Nas X back when the controversy that surrounded this song was blowing up. The song talks about many various things and themes, the full extent of which I discussed before. Lil Nas X delivers some of his own life experiences and hints throughout the song while also delivering a satire of both country music and rap music. It is a perfect cacophony of influences mixed masterfully into a singular song. I thought you wanted this for my life, for my life. Now we get to the next large single off the EP, Panini. The song references the fictional character Panini from the show Chowder, a show both Lil Nas X and I grew up with and saw on the television. The song itself is a trap hip-hop song, but it delivers a fresh take on it. The song is a letter to his old fans who loved him when he was smaller, but as the spotlight grew on him, they started to turn away from him. He doesn't speak down to them, but instead wants them to know he cares for them and would like them to come back. The video has a sweet ending to it as well. You can find it and the other videos I mentioned in the description below. But in the video, Lil Nas X is the face of many futuristic products, and this is an allegory for his sudden stardom as the woman in the video acts in anger, trying to find ways to ignore him, but in a metaphor for how inescapable Old Town Road was. He appears throughout and anywhere she goes. He's still trying to get across his message to them throughout. And in the end, he turns the advertisements into virtual beauty, showing that underneath all the popularity, he is still the same artist beneath, which I find a very nice message. And he was able to get that across in under 3 minutes. Something that may come as a surprise to you is that this song samples Nirvana's song In Bloom. Lil Nas X had never heard the album before releasing the song, the beat having been made by the producer Take a Day Trip. He got permission to use the sample the day this song was released. I found this to be an interesting little fact, but I will note I do rather enjoy this song. It's nice and pleasant to listen to. It's not too obnoxious, it has a slick production, and the hook is great. It is a letter to his old fans, and I like that he isn't overly harsh with them as other musicians have done. There's also a version featuring DaBaby. They even made a video for the song with this remix in mind, as they made the video animated like Chowder, the actual show. The creator of Chowder even praised the video, and I must say, I did too. It felt very nice to have the nostalgia come back for that show, and then seeing some people lovingly make a work based off it. Yeah, you and me, my friend, you best believe we gotta fix this family. Next on the docket, we have the next song on the EP called Family, You and Me. It is a pop-punk song featuring the talents of Travis Barker of Blink 182 fame. It isn't a rap song in any way, but instead is quite the bop, having a high energetic feel as pop-punk has the tendency to deliver. It feels almost aquatic in the sonic feels of the song, especially during the bridge. The song's message is drawn from Lil Nas X's own life and how his parents divorced while he was young, and how he is drawing from those experiences to try fixing his current relationship. Knowing how rough it is to have his family split apart, he wants to keep the relationship going, knowing it is not yet too long gone to fix. This isn't his first foray into mentioning this side of his past, referencing it in his own 2018 track, Carry On. But yes, I find the song itself to be a rather catchy number that is nice and upbeat, full of energy as a couple experiencing frame would. I rather like the way that the vocals sound throughout the songs thus far. There are some nice sonic experiences throughout. Definitely recommend if interested. Run to me. Next up, we have a darker tone song that matches it in its production and tone, that is also chill at the same time. The song is a more traditionally rap number that shows off LNX's skills at rapping while also having modern alternative rock influences. The song tells of Lil Nas X noticing after his rise in fame how many others tried to come to him asking him for favors, claiming to be good friends of his even though they had drifted apart long before his rise to fame. It tells from the perspective of the fake friend and how LNX turns them down for their advances. They start to throw dirt on his name and doubting his credibility as an artist after moments before pretending to praise LNX. The song also features references to Lil Nas X's rise to fame. The fake friend knows of these and is trying to get a piece of it for themselves. The other side of the coin is the weed references and how the fake friend keeps trying to sell it to Lil Nas X. This calls back to me to how Lil Nas X told of how he'd end up with the bad scene if he stuck around where he had been. So those references here to me symbolize how LNX sees through this person and is able to tell they mean nothing to him. He has moved on from these toxic people in his life and now is on his way up and growing past them, growing to be a stronger and more mature adult. The production values are once again high and I find it very smooth flowing and it even includes a great but brief instrumental break inside it. The song is short like all the songs on this EP, but Lil X is able to really push the boundaries of such short timings. Able to make some very good music as shown here in this song, not feeling as short as it is. Do check this song out if you do desire. I thought you would stay with me, I'm yours and you're mine, I envy. The next song we come up upon is another country rap song, this time featuring Cardi B. It is vocally delivered similarly to Old Town Road, perhaps this acting as a sequel considering its themes. With Lil X's rise to fame, he is finding that his partner has grown more and more dependent on him, and he finds keeping the relationship together is a necessity, even as that fame is weighing more and more into it. Cardi B's verse is about fidelity, and I feel in all honesty it doesn't really fit the rest of the song. It is overly aggressive compared to the more tame Lil X's verses. It doesn't really fit to me, and this is the first time listening to anything by Cardi B, by the way. I do rather like the instrumental backing. It has some surf influences and some westerny feelings. It is interesting sounding, but too similar to Old Town Road. It feels like Columbia was trying to remake Old Town Road personally, and I don't think it worked really. While interesting sonically, the actual song itself doesn't exactly work for me. It feels more like an album track than a single. My favorite parts of it is the instrumental and the choruses and outro especially. They work the best and sound like a desert mirage. Lil Nas X's verses do match the instrumentals very well, really adding to the mirage feel when the choruses come in. But yes, the song feels partly unfinished and slightly rushed. It almost works in places, however, a tentative "take a listen if you wish" from me at best. I don't know what's gonna bring you down. After Rodeo comes Bring You Down, a song that features One Republic's Ryan Tedder, who also wrote it. The song is a short number, but it is a very grunge/alt-rock number, and it shows once more that Lil Nas X has the ability to do various genres. The song is yet another catchy number, and how there's people who try to tear him down when he was on his rise, from the perspective of one trying to tear him down. It makes me a bit sad how great this song sounds, since it shows Ryan Tedder still has a lot of talent in production and also in making great rock hits. He even plays the instruments you hear on the song, but he isn't often able to showcase that in his band One Republic these days. But I am glad that he and Nas were able to get together and make this. It shows there is still talent in there. The song is very great production-wise and yet again, very catchy. It really flows well for me and shows off Nas's talents and how diverse he can be. The song's modern production and musical values mixes perfectly with the more classic grunge sound, making a perfect storm of sound for the current callbacks to the 90s while also managing to make something new on their own and creatively so. Use my time to be free. Coming off the higher energy of Bring You Down comes the slightly slower and still as chill song musically, Enclosure You Like. The whistling in the song is reminiscent of Panini and perhaps tells of the two songs being linked together. The song is more laid back in its production, and I do rather enjoy its more rap and rock vibes. His flow is very good, and his singing in the choruses is very emotionally moving. It is very good. Significantly, Lil Nas X spoke of this song in particular right as Pride Month came to an end, telling fans to listen closely to it as he revealed his coming out to the whole wide world. The link of his personal tales of coming out in this song link rather well, and perhaps tell of this song being Lil Nas X's way of coming out and telling his fans of his experiences. The soul verse in the song really hammers home this point, and how Lil X shows that while coming out may seem like a bad move to him and he is worried how it will go, he knows that in the future he'll look back on this time and be glad that he came out after all, so he can be his true self rather than to live a lie. I find it very very great that he had the courage to do this. He gets my respect for that, and I am glad he felt able to come out as he did. He knows the news may drive some of his fans away, but he knows what truly matters is his happiness. The ones that stay are his true friends and family and fans. This song I highly recommend, and it is perhaps one of my faves off the entire EP. Can't nobody tell me nothing. Finally, this song is the original version of the big hit, and it was this version in particular I took a look at earlier this year. That video, as mentioned before, is linked in the description and in the cards if you wish to know my full thoughts on it. But yes, with that comes the end of the EP. So let us slide on down to my conclusion about this EP. Conclusion. So what are my overall thoughts on the EP? Well, my thoughts of the EP overall are all over the place, honestly. Each song is a completely different experience from each other. It is not something you can really compare to other things as a whole since it's so diverse. So it gets bonus points for me there in how it so creatively was able to branch out and do more than just one genre and more than one thing. I do very much enjoy his wide vocal range and abilities. He is able to do more than just rap, he is able to sing in different tones as well, and is able to go to different genres so flawlessly. The overarching theme of the album is generally in how Lil Nas X is simultaneously telling his life story, talking about his rise to fame, and also his current life experiences so perfectly. Most of the songs work very well, and I would highly recommend most of them, aside Rodeo. The rest of the EP I find to work very good. The production is different on each song, as different producers were brought in for each of them. The whole EP works as a lesson to not judge a book by its cover. I think the various styles and genres blend very well together to make a very interesting EP. Definitely gets a solid A from me. Aside Rodeo, it's an A+ for me. I definitely think you should check this EP out. The highlights for me are Closure, Bring You Down, Family, and Kick It. Do I anticipate more from the artist? Well, I will answer that simply with a most certainly. I, for one, am a huge fan of Lil Nas X, and I admire his story coming up and shaking music in 2019 to its core, creating some of the largest smash hits ever yet made. He came up from relatively nowhere to become one of the biggest names in music as of the present. He has maintained a cool personality and a classy behavior I admire. He is also a wonderful presence in the world of music. He has a great taste for fashion, and instead of the stereotypical rapper persona, he is able to be his own person. He may no longer be an indie artist, but he still maintains a great level of creativity and is able to breathe new life into music, especially of many various genres. He brings his unique experience and creativity into his work, and I am proud of him for following music as he has, bringing some unconventional methods into his music. I look forward to seeing what he makes into the future, and I certainly am interested in seeing what a full-length album from him could be like. Do look more into him if you so desire. He has a fascinating story to him, and I hope more good people like him get the spotlight, especially in these trying times. With that, I do believe this brings us to the end of our time together this week. I do hope you enjoyed yourself and perhaps you learned something about Lil Nas X that you hadn't before. He is far more than just a meme, and I hope my video here serves as an introduction to him for the curious. Let me know what you thought of the video and or Lil Nas X himself down in the comments below. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you would like to see more of my future work, feel free to subscribe and all the other lovely things you've heard a million times over from every YouTube content creator out there. I have been your host, Natty, and I wish you well on your adventure, partners. For now, I'm afraid that I must vamoose. Yeehaw.